Hi, I'm John Pullo, managing editor of CigarAdvisor.com, and I got a message from Mike on Facebook, private message, that said, I usually only buy a few cigars at a time because I smoke them pretty soon after I get them. But I'd like to buy a humidor, and I wanted to know how big a humidor should I buy, and how many cigars does a humidor really hold? Well, Mike, and anybody else who has this question, there's a couple things you need to factor in when you see the humidor count, like 25 to 50, 50 to 100. When you're buying that humidor, there's three important things to remember when it comes to that humidor count. First, the size of the cigars. So this is the Capri Humidor, a box that holds about 25 to 50 cigars. But that 25 to 50 is going to depend on the size cigars you're storing. If you smoke Toros, like I do, or a bigger stick like the 60 ring gauge Partagas, it's going to be a lot closer to the 25 end. But if you prefer the skinny ones like this Room 101, the Lancero size, you're going to be a lot closer to 50. Second, leave room for a humidification device and a hygrometer. Yes, you can go ahead and cram 50 cigars in here, but then you're not going to have any room for if you're keeping a jar or keeping a hygrometer attached to the lid, because what's going to happen is if you have this whole thing stuffed with cigars, the lid's only going to go that far. Not only are you going to damage your cigars, you're going to defeat the purpose of keeping them in a humidor in the first place because it's not sealed. So that's where something like a Boveda pack comes in handy, because if you're storing a pretty full humidor, these will rest right on top of your cigars. It's okay if they touch your cigars. And if you have something like a humidor jar, like this monster jar, you go ahead, maybe you only want to store 10, 15 cigars, you take your Boveda pack, you toss it right inside, and you're all set. Seals tight. Third, leave room for the humidified air to circulate throughout the humidor, and that goes for a box of any size. Yes, like the Capri, you could put up to 50 cigars in there, and if you have them jammed in like sardines, odds are that the cigars on the bottom aren't going to get the same kind of humidification love as the sticks do that are sitting on top. So two things. One, make sure you go ahead and rotate your stock from time to time. Move the ones from the bottom up onto the top down onto the bottom. And second, when you put the cigars back in your humidor, make sure there's enough airflow going in and around and between and under and over all the cigars, and humidify them evenly. So my advice to Mike, or anybody buying a humidor, buy a box that's a little bit bigger than what you think it is that you need. Because what's the worst that happens? You have to buy a couple more cigars to put in there? I could think of worse things.